be live. How's it going, guys?
God, the happy Thor's. Okay, so I just read in the chat, why did the whale cross the ocean to get to the other tide?
I mean, to be fair, that's the reason I would cross you. You do not seem happy about that. I love that there are so many dual meanings in the English language. It makes for so many bad jokes.
I don't know. Oh shoot, I just hit the keyboard. Did I ruin everything?
You
okay,
did.
No, I didn't. All right, good.
Yes, you did. Don't even lie to yourself.
like I hit the arrow buttons and things moved around, and I was just like, "Fuck!" I just ruined the world.
Oh dear.
No.
It says that
Happy Thursday, people. We're live. I see us on the thing, and the pure ostension. Yes, that's the word. I keep seeing it, and it like fills a place in my head of being like, oh, that person who's really cool, but ostension just doesn't. It didn't read well in my head. Anyway, he's like, sorry, I'll get my coat now.
To be fair, that's what I would have to do too after all that. That said, we do have a bit of an unfocused episode. Then again, every episode devolves into tangents anyways, and cosines whenever Ocean's feeling particularly punny. So, I don't think that's really outside of our norm at this point.
Yeah, we can get a good angle on that one. But there's... I see that we have a thumbnail. What?
Sorry, I had to just blurt out the worst way I could possibly end that joke.
Math?
Mm-hmm.
Just screaming it? Just like our days are numbered. Anyway, so we have the thumbnail. We were trying to come up with a topic, and we were just like, I said nothing. And Suris comes back with this thumbnail of a thumbnail.
Yeah, I said, don't worry, thumbnail incoming, I got you. And then I sent that to Emmett, Gaelic Knox, and Gaelic Knox just goes, don't worry, I understand, I know what to do. And then she just sends me this thumbnail of a thumbnail, and so now we have a thumbnail of a thumbnail.
Why? Okay. It's a really nice thumbnail. It looks really excited to be on the show.
I look at that thumbnail, and all I can think is that it's looking at me going, hello!
That was a voice.
It was. Have you not seen ASDF movie? Okay.
Anyway, words. So this is going to be a very unfocused show. We're sorry.
No, we're not. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to do that. We're honest.
We're honest. No, we're not. We're abusing our audience.
Except the only thing we're not honest about is when we're going to be live, and that's because we don't know either.
That's true. I didn't know we were going to be on until about 40 minutes ago. And then
to be fair, I asked Ocean
about 40 minutes ago.
I asked Ocean about 2 times yesterday, hey, when are we doing Hammered Out? But then like something else got brought up each time. So I woke up today and said, hey, when are we doing this? And then something else got brought up again. And finally I was just like, Ocean, when? And he's like,
I don't care.
And he's just like, oh, probably in like an hour, okay? I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go make some food.
I don't care. We can do it now.
Suddenly,
but
here we are.
Yeah, right. We had like a couple of things happen this week in our lives. I guess, Suris, you've got some renovations happening.
Yes.
There's like your adventure with your house is becoming like a whole new ordeal.
Yeah. So I wanted to. I posted.
So many pictures. It said they gave me hope.
Yes. Let me see if I can't find those pictures real quick, because I know that since I sent them to you, they'll be there. So everybody who saw the original pictures of the house, like way back when we started working on it, it looked absolutely atrocious. Like every possible way that it could be bad, it was bad. But let me go ahead and add a source real quick for you guys so that you can see. We're just gonna go ahead and do this the lazy way. You guys okay?
Oh, you're gonna go full screen with this shit? Or,
yes.
I mean, I was thinking you just put it on top of the thumbnail.
Here's the lazy way we can do this.
Oh no.
This is the ridiculously lazy way. So this is the kitchen currently.
Oh God, that is lazy.
That is incredibly lazy. Here,
Why'd you do
I
that?
can make it look
Okay.
less lazy. Watch.
Wow. No,
Check
no, no!
check
Don't
this
make it
out.
look less lazy. This has got some style to it.
Watch. And suddenly, we look slightly more professional. Boom.
Are you kidding me right now?
It's almost like I could have done that the whole time, but I just didn't. So, this is where the kitchen is right now. Every countertop has been
my life right now. Okay. So, all right.
Everything's been pulled out. It's been yanked the fuck out.
The timing that I'm looking at this is like a little bit off because all right, anyway. So, because I'm looking at the same feed that the audience is, but you're seeing my reactions in real time. So what's happening is like I'm having very delayed reactions to what's on the screen. But yeah, no, I've seen this picture before. That the kitchen looks gutted. You've pulled out all the cabinets, which God bless you if you're gonna be putting in new cabinets in a kitchen.
They have a tendency to fight with gravity.
You don't want something fighting with gravity that much. Is that that white space on the right? Is that for where a refrigerator is supposed to go? Why isn't the refrigerator there?
So
is it too big?
The previous tenants, what they did is they had a they had a wooden thing, like a rolling shelf type of deal. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It was like a cabinet and a shelf, but it was on wheels and it was made of wood and it looked really gaudy and I was not a fan of it, but that's where they held all their dog food. And they put that there and then they moved the kitchen or they moved the refrigerator over to where you see it in the picture. Now,
and they just put it in the middle of the fucking kitchen.
Yes, and now here's the biggest issue. If you walk into the house, there's a window, like a window between the living room and the kitchen, and
there's an interior window?
Yeah, and the refrigerator it's like one of those windows where like you pass people their drinks.
Oh, it's a fucking I know what that's called, but I don't know what it's called. It's a thing.
Yeah. So the refrigerator was put in front of that window.
Serving window kind of thing. Yeah.
Basically.
You can put little stools on the other end. Yeah.
Yeah, and because they put the refrigerator right there, they lost use of their serving window.
Right.
When they could have just put the dog food shelf there and maintained use of it.
Well, that's stupid.
It is. It's nightmarishly stupid. But yeah, no, that looks like.
Is the fridge too big to go into that opening though? Like it looks like. I mean, maybe this is perspective, but
the the refrigerator can go there, from what I can tell. When we were,
you'll be able to build your cabinets around it, but that's just like.
We also
put the sink in front of the window at least when you put it back together. Like that's.
This was the living room. Everything's been yanked out now.
I can't see it yet.
Turns out that air conditioning unit does work though, which is neat.
Oh, good. Right. So this is the image that gave me a little bit of hope, that it looked like a lot of the damage was like really bad, but it doesn't look like I can't.
It's really bad, but it's really bad in the way that like pulling the board away and putting a new one in fixes.
Right. Okay. That's what I was wondering is like how much do you have to replace here? Do you? Yeah. It doesn't look like the board is rotted through, so whatever's underneath it should be okay. But you don't know until you lift up the board.
Yeah. It's so in there is a little bit of hope.
There's an epistemology to renovation.
Yes.
You cannot know something until you reveal it. It must be revealed to you. And
speaking of things that were revealed to us, there were a few times where we debated on whether or not we were going to actually deal with like sleeping in the house before it was done.
Right.
The thing that solidified that we're not dealing with sleeping in the house before it's done are these ceilings, where all of that.
I knew the ceiling was going to be a dick.
Like all of that is just rot.
I can't see the image yet, but let's see.
You'll see it here in a minute.
Here we go. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So all those markings, like all that discoloration, that's just rot, right?
Yeah, all of that is just rot.
Okay, well that's wonderful.
Those are areas where the ceiling, like it was bulging.
Are you gonna have to replace the whole fucking roof?
We're not gonna have to replace the roof because the roof is made of tin. So all that's gonna have to happen with the roof is we're gonna have to reseal any areas that had caused leakage. But because the roof is a tin roof, as long as we're not dealing with any type of like straight up rusting through, then the roof is fine, but the ceiling and the insulation and all that's got to go.
That needs to be burned. Oh, also, by the way, people that are talking in the chat about like, damn son, you live like this. Hold on a minute. This is a house that Suris is attempting to move into and needs to renovate before doing so. He doesn't live there now, no. Jesus Christ.
I don't live there. This is where I live right now. These are my ceilings.
Yeah, those are the ceilings. Like that's the place that is like kept regularly. This is a spot that Suris bought for pennies on the dime. And it's, you know, it requires a renovation before it's able to be moved into. So
yeah, this is where we're moving.
A lot of that is going to be restructuring the house. So when it comes to, and I'd say that, you know, the fact that you have a 10 roof is 10 out of 10. But
10 out of 10?
A lot of the I'm sorry. The insulation and structure in there is going to need to be, that's going to be a project. At least you don't have to replace the roof though.
So,
that's like
yeah. So for the previous way this looked, before we started renovations on it, we did have this lovely little number. This was the kitchen before we started renovations.
And there's a big question in the chat about whether or not it's profitable to renovate. That's a big question mark.
It is. It's a big question mark, but bear in mind that this is a property that's 2.5 acres large. So basically, the house itself ended up costing dimes compared to what we spent on the land.
Yeah, like
the land is really what got bought here. And the reason we have to renovate the house...
I made a purchase like that recently, and I wound up flipping it, which was great.
There's a reason we have to renovate the house, though. So in Georgia, we are no longer allowed, at least in that area, we are no longer allowed to put up double-wide trailers. And that's the only thing that house is a double-wide trailer that's on an actual, like, cement foundation. It's basically a real house that started as a trailer before they started building it out into an actual house. Because of what it is,
it's a modified trailer.
Yeah, because of what it is, though, we would have to replace it with a similar double wide, but we can't because 50 years ago, when this trailer was modified into a house,
zoning.
They were allowed to zone for it. The property was zoned for 2 double wides, but now the property has to be zoned for 2 real property, not 2 double wides. So we have to renovate. Because the alternative.
So I'm not going to be able to plant a, what is it? A container house?
You would need to. Well, technically you could. This
is like an idea that I'm going to like put a container house on Suris's property somewhere.
There's a few ways.
His pet pagan that lives.
There's a few ways we could do it.
There's a pagan in the woods. Look out! He worships Odin.
Also, I'm gonna start flipping through images of the other stuff in the
standing
house.
Stones.
The other house stuff that we were having to clean out, so you guys can enjoy the befores now that you've seen the afters. This is how it was when we bought it.
The before pictures are scary. Oh, do you have a picture of that room that we cleared out with the desk in it? That thing was okay. Good. Because that room was scary. I swung by to help Suris clear out this place, and good God, there was one. There was one room that I was concerned about that had like the closet. The floor in front of the closet like dipped in, and the roof was just like open up, and that's why I'm not surprised at all when you say that the ceiling has rot in it. It's just like, well, yeah, there's like 20 leaks in there. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, you should look at the roof, because otherwise you're just going to be repeating this whole thing.
Yeah, basically. So the good news though is that for us to get another property on there, what we'll have to do is we're going to have to figure out what the actual zoning laws are there. I know that it cannot be a trailer. That is what I know, because we just had to go through the whole legal ramifications of turning this into what's called real property, because when we got it, they had never turned it over to real property, even though now that's on a foundation, legally, it has to be called real property. The previous tenants never got around to doing that, so we had to do that.
So there's dollars.
Yeah, no, it's... This is
How much does that process cost? Just out of curiosity.
I really would rather not say on air.
Gotcha.
So if that helps.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
granted, the good news is the way that a lot of it's being handled is that that's going towards our loan. So we haven't had to do a lot of the upfront cost stuff, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have upfront costs, because there is one upfront cost we already have to deal with that's going to be a little over $1,000, and that's the secondary patio area that they had almost turned into a room. They've got the moisture-proof black paper under it. They've got like solid floor. They've got electrical. They've got everything except for outside paneling, insulation, and inside paneling, and a window unit because it's an add-on room. They don't actually have ducting under there, so it's going to have a window AC unit. That's going to be about $1,000 to $1,500 job, depending on what materials we end up going with. That's the one job that's going to have to be done as we get in there, because the stairs leading up to that room, because it was a patio, they have to go because they're not in code. They're actually like not coded stairs anymore. They're completely out. And since that room's already going to be turning into a room anyway, we're like, well, we don't need the stairs, but that does mean that we need to get that room turned into a room now, because it's without access to it. It's not going to be a patio anymore.
Mr. Hot Pink Banana says, as a construction worker, am crying. I am crying as a construction worker. So, I agree. I hear you. I've done some of this kind of like reno work before, and this is a project, because like, have you looked at the pipes yet,
dude? let me tell you about what I found when I opened up the crawl space. So this property is on what's called a well. If you're used to city water, then well. Yeah, if you're used to city water, then you're used to having to pay for your water as it comes in. Our water in this house comes from a spring.
Wait, did they not change the filter ever? I would believe that.
I know for a fact that they did not, because when we started pouring out the water from in there, it came out brown.
Right. Well, that's like semi-normal, but the filter probably looked.
The filter we're gonna have to get a filter in there, because we're fed by a spring with a high sulfur content.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. But
you need like a specialized filter.
Yeah. And it's probably going to be two ways. It's going to be filter on the actual like piping, and then filters on the individual spigots in the house, because
okay,
I
thought there's like the well itself usually has a filter on it. Like, I grew up with a well, so
you're already used to having to like go out and like the pipes are busting, turn off the well.
Right, exactly. So yeah, when it goes to winter, you just turn that sucker off. Mm-hmm. But no, there's a little, like, we had like a little well house, and we'd go out, open it up, and there's like this little thing would pop out, and you pull out the well filter, stick in this new thing. But
I'll need to check the next time that we're down. One of the issues, there's a few issues that we're dealing with right now. One, as far as the water, when I went into the crawl space, so the pipes were leaking like mad. And the way that they did their electrical in the house before is they had like wires, like, your standard like brown extension cable that has 3 female ports on the end, like just your standard $5 thing you get at the dollar mart. Okay, so they had a few of those running under their house with a bunch of electrical in it, wrapped around these pipes that are leaking.
Because they didn't turn off their pipes in the winter, so there's a lot of leaks.
Yes. So we've got pipes leaking over electrical that's plugged into the main.
It's amazing that the faucets still worked.
Yeah.
Like, because usually when you get a leak like that, a lot of times you wind up having like, your pressure goes down to the point where it's not. Maybe that's part of the reason why you had all those mason jars. I don't know. It's a weird world.
It is.
In that house.
Now, granted, I will say this. I'm very thankful that they did have all the mason jars and jugs of water, because with the amount of stuff we had to burn, it was very convenient to be able to just walk down to the basement and grab several gallons of water,
There's a basement?
Yes.
I never saw that.
That property, it's
technically...
There's a basement? It's technically called a storm cellar, but yes, it's a full, like, it's not fully furnished or anything, but there is a basement area under the foundation in the brickwork that has a window and a door and access to the crawl space, and it has shelves in it, and it's yeah.
What?
Instead of trying to set up separate property, why don't we just keep you in the basement?
Because it's haunted down there.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do.
No, there's a window. We can just pull the window up, put a window air conditioning unit in.
But I fully believe that's haunted.
And yeah, no, Alex Hanna says storm cellar because it's not accessible from the inside of the house like a normal basement. Correct. It is not accessible from the inside of the house.
I didn't see any door to the basement when I was inside.
Yeah, there's a door to it.
He hid from me that there was a basement. If he told me there was a basement, I would have been like, "Let's go." But you know, I gotta go. Like,
do you want to go there
somewhere? It's like you can only Skyrim so often in real life. But,
so what are you doing this week? Like the rest of the week? Because like we can totally go down there. Like if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, maybe I can swing by and we can go. We can see if there's any treasure chests or bandits or trolls down there. I'm. I assume that you fully explored this thing.
It's only one room. Like it's the size of a single bedroom. Like that patio
that you know of. Wait till you pull the secret lever.
It has, like I said, it actually has a door access to the storm cellar.
There's a door.
There's a door inside there that goes to the storm cellar that is under the rest of the house. There is exploring to be done.
Inside the basement?
Yes.
There's a door.
Yes.
But there's only one room?
Yes. Yes, this Narnia stuff is strange, isn't it? Mr. Tumnus wants to take you on an adventure.
In before Ocean turns the storm cellar into the first pagan temple in Georgia. Working on that already, but that's not my place of choice.
The Weird and Wonderful says the last Suris video ever. We go to the basement, we never come back.
We go down into the basement, and then just the connection to YouTube just slowly fades, and then the camera falls onto its side.
I've read creepypastas that are like that, where like the person just goes, "Hey guys, things are kind of fading," and then like the thread dies for 2 years, and then the person posts again 2 years later, and they're just like, "Guys, it's only been 10 minutes. What's wrong? What happened? Everything looks like it's different." And then everybody's like, "Dude, you haven't posted in 2 years." So yeah,
we're gonna die.
Then the house updates.
I guess an update on my end that I'll throw out there is that I appeared on a podcast called By the Grandfather Fire, I believe. And it's on it I talk about, being a polytheist in an atheist debate world, basically. Because it's like mainly what I'm interacting with is the occasional Christian, but it's mostly atheists, it seems. And it was a good conversation where I talked a little bit about philosophy and kind of like what happens in atheist debates when you actually get beyond the whole epistemology thing. But it was a good little show. I suggest checking it out. There's see if I can. I'll shoot you the link, Suris, if I can find it somewhere. They tagged me, and now I don't. There's been so many fucking posts on my Twitter. In a minute. Oh wait, no, I posted it in my Discord. Where the fuck is it?
Oh my. So I immediately I look at my Twitter for just half a second. Yeah. And there's a chat that me and Godless Engineer and Paulo G and a few of us are in. And I just look at the first thing in the chat. And it's Godless Engineer going, 2 of those videos have sucking dick as a main aspect of the video.
Wait, what?
I'm not even clicking on it for context. I'm just glancing at it, and that's the first thing I see.
That's what was said?
Yes.
Okay. That's really weird. All right, I'm going to put in the chat, I'm putting the link to the Twitter post by Jim Two Snakes. That is the I'm gonna put it in my announcements on my Discord as well. So, that follow that link that I just put in the chat, and you can check out that podcast. From
there's
by
one
the Grandfather
more
Fire.
There's one more matter
around
of
the
business.
Grandfather Fire. I'm sorry.
One more matter of business I'd like to get to. Ocean, how much did April 1st scar you?
There was some scarring. I've mostly recovered. Are you talking about the video you posted or the debate that I moderated? Because both of them had scarring effects.
So you moderated over on Modern Day Debate, correct?
I did. I moderated for a debate on who was sexier.
Steve or Kyle?
Steve McRae or Kyle Curtis of Non Sequitur Show.
And that wasn't that Jim versus James?
Jim's versus James. James decided to defend the incredible sexiness of Steve McRae, whereas Jim Majors, formerly of Atheist Republic, defended the sexiness of Kyle Curtis, which I think Jim made the better points.
I would say that they're both wrong.
They're both wrong that one is sexier than the other.
Yes. Yes.
It's in a true dichotomy.
In a true dichotomy, they're both equally sexy.
Okay, fine. I guess that's fair. If they're both equally sexy, then they would both be wrong. Okay. Well, they would just both be wrong. You can't both be correct because one of them, they're both positions. One is sexier than the other.
Are you saying that you agree with the law of excluded middle?
Yeah.
That's a topic for an episode.
What?
I'm pulling you. I'm pulling your leg.
What?
I'm
okay.
With you.
I'm done with you. I'm fucking done.
You say that, yet you're still here.
The other thing that scarred me on April Fool's was your video of emasculated Avatar. Which I love that avatar. I want you to keep that avatar. That avatar is kind of wonderful.
I'm planning on doing so.
Put the mic closer to your face.
No, I fucking refuse.
But
you can't make me.
I just did. But even Aaron is like, sir, it's into the mic, dear.
No.
But that was interesting. Actually, I do quite like that avatar. That avatar should be in your regular roster if it's not.
I plan on it. I'm going to make a base file that actually incorporates the avatar because it's I did make my base files, by the way. I have those now from when they exploded last time.
And I guess I'll show it here, but only briefly, that there is actually an avatar for me now.
Yes. I'm also halfway tempted to subject the live audience to that emasculated avatar video right now.
Don't.
I shouldn't.
Let's see now. Okay. It's taking me a second to get it.
One biologist says Suris is afraid of having things near his face thanks to the tentacle incident.
Thanks to the tentacle incident. Okay, so, you're the chat is saying do it.
Do it, you damn coward!
But before you do that, I'm gonna change my thing to this. This is the avatar that we've been working on over at my place. This is the new ocean thing that is going to be appearing in my videos, and that's been on the screen long enough. So that's your sneak peek of what I will be appearing as in the future.
Where is my actual? Is it? It can't be that. No. You know what? No, I know what we're gonna do. I'm trying to get this to actually display that video, but I know that all the methods that I want to use to display it are just not working. So we're gonna do this. Problem solved.
And the chat seems excited about that avatar. I'm happy with that. Keep an eye out for my next video. I've written the script to it. And the artist, I'll link you guys to his Instagram. He hasn't posted that image yet. We're waiting until I post the video for him to post that image. But
All right, guys. I have it resized here because I am not professional at doing this. So are you guys really want me to subject you to that video again? Is that what you really want me to do?
Link is in the chat to the artist that made that image, by the way. Go follow him. He's a good dude. His name is Tipsy Danger.
Tipsy Danger.
Tipsy Danger is the
danger always happens when you're tipsy.
Yep.
Oh no. That's right. That just goes oh no. But says do it.
Do it.
Jub
do
says
it.
If it's
Let it loose. Let it loose.
Okay, well.
And it makes sense that things are that way. It's very strange. It's very emasculated, feminine boys and women who can't trust them because they're not standing up and being strong. So women that then step up and become very masculine women.
That video of
so,
that dude.
And school does that. School teaches women to be more masculine and it teaches boys to be more feminine. But then women can't trust men because men aren't being men any longer.
Okay. We're just going to leave it on that image. That cursed image.
I like that video. And then the follow-up with the dancing in front of the
yes
NFIB or whatever. Wait, is that what it is? NFIB or NIFB? Or...
We didn't do the dancing in front of the NIFB thing. The dancing
that was on April 1st, wasn't it?
Yeah, on April 1st, we just did the caramel dancing just in general.
Oh, okay. That was, yeah, that was fun too.
10 out of 10 skeptics would bone Suris. Please no. Please no. I want to survive. It is Mr. Hot Pink Banana. It is a blessed image, you heathen. I originally was going to do something completely different for April Fools, but then Bumblinbee sent me a message and said, "Hey, if I made you a female version of your avatar, would you use it in a response video against like people like Damien Prosolandes and stuff that have the men are emasculated type of dealio as their argument?" So I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?" And then I was like, "Wait a minute, hold on. I have comments like that. I have comments of people who say that because of my avatar. You know what? I'm going to go get those comments. I'm going to go get a bunch of them." And then I realized I had enough to put to music. And so it got put to music. So there we are. The Weird and Wonderful says, "Dude, you rule 34'd yourself." I never ruled 34'd myself. That was you guys.
So that was fan art that he was using as that avatar. So because I think it originated from fan art.
Yes. So. Chichinus, I believe, originally made.
Like, put it this way: there's so much Rule 34 out there of you. You might as well make it canon to your channel.
Basically, it is now canon to the lore. Like there are not events that are canon to the lore of my channel. There's art that's canon to the lore of my channel. That is how it works. I mean, he showed it in his video, thereby granting it official status. Yeah, that's why I said that there's right. Art that is
there's art that is official canon.
Yes. Which, honestly, I'm happy that that's the case because one, I've grown up with a lot of artists, so like giving them a chance to have their art shown on a public platform is good. when it's just like fan art stuff, is not stuff that I've commissioned. 2, I think that the stuff that comes in is awesome. Like it's great. Even if some of it's Wombologist's level of tentacringe. Because Wombologist has made some tentacringe.
Tentacringe?
Yes.
What is tentacringe? What is that?
Very cringy tentacle porn. You okay, Ocean?
For you? With you in it? Wait,
not with the both of us. Wombologist made a picture of me in the hell that Logic has for his videos.
Is that the one where you're like
and possibly violated? Could possibly be consensual. We don't know. And there's also a flower censoring.
It is not known.
There's also a flower censoring the image.
Oh, that one.
Yes,
that one was fun. I think my personal headcanon to that is it's consensual.
That's your personal headcanon.
Yeah. As far as like how I interpreted the image.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Wombologist can correct us on that.
The original artist can correct us on all things.
So there's definitely a tentacle in and around the ass.
In and around the. Mr. Hot Pink Banana says it's his proudest fap.
It's his proudest fap. Yes, it's in my folder.
Okay then. Speaking of which, as per usual, any fan art that does get submitted during the course of the show will be put up on screen.
That's what happens.
And
why?
Will be incorporated into the show, because if it's not NSFW art does not go up because, well, I'd like to keep my channel. It's how I live. It's how I survive. I want to live. Living is great.
I saw the comment Matt Powell is evil and consenting sensual tentacles are in the chat way too close to each other. I'm not going to speak that into existence, but I am going to suggest that maybe it should be in existence.
You just did that. Matt Powell is evil with consenting tentacles. like just tentacles going up to Matt Powell and just the tentacle going, "Are you sure you want it?" and Matt going, "As long as God doesn't know."
I did not technically speak it into it. Maybe I did.
You just did.
Maybe I did.
So we also have a Raging Atheist in the chat now as well. How's it going, Raging Atheist?
Oh, dude. I love that guy.
Yeah. His little debate with Matt became that Tuesday episode where I just went through and I'm just like, these are the things that Matt says.
Let's talk about that thing for a minute. Because we had a lot of agreements on that, about how that debate went. You gave some you gave some thoughts about the concept of debating, Matt, in your video, but you didn't give too many thoughts on the debate itself in that video.
And the reason I didn't do that is because my thoughts on the debate itself are on Nakasuchi's channel.
Yeah.
Because on Raging Atheist channel, I went on to his channel and gave him my thoughts personally about the debate. So there's no... If we want to talk about that debate at all here, then that's up to you. But I've already aired my thoughts on his channel there.
Right, and so did I over there as well. There's this... the thing is, it's just like this long 5-hour-long video.
That ends in sandwich epistemology.
Like this giant, sandwich discussion, which I don't think you were a part of, but it involved mostly me and Jim yelling at each other about sandwiches. And that my position was that all of the ideas that Jim Majors had about sandwiches that were opposed to mine were influenced by tacos. So, keep that in mind going into that mess. But yeah, no, I think that we have a like-minded opinion on how that debate went down.
Yeah, it was, and it's one of the reasons that like I ended up making that video in the first place, because one of my problems, I thought, was if you are not equipped to go into that debate, it seems almost like you might be legitimizing the other person's position, because there really isn't much of a thought on whether or not Matt won that discussion. He did what he should have done in that discussion to dominate it, which sucks. I don't like saying that. I cannot stand Matt.
Yeah, if I were to like score the debate, like there was a couple points when Nakasuchi had him on the back foot, but he didn't bring it home as much as I wanted him to. And there was a lot of distraction on like a lot of the events around the debate, which Nakasuchi's explained on his channel. And he's gone into. But as far as like the appearance of the debate and the topic and all that kind of crap, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, and not a huge fan, and it sucks too, because like I really like Nakasuchi. I really like Raging Atheist channel. If you guys have not subscribed already, please go do so. Since he's in the chat, you can just click on his thing, click go to channel. You can go to his channel there and subscribe over there. I would highly recommend his stuff.
What I like about I'll say real quickly that what I love about the guy, because like Raging Atheist, you'd think the name Raging Atheist, I'm pagan, atheists and their interactions with theists usually doesn't go very well, especially with you would expect with a guy the name the Raging Atheist. So, but in my experience with the guy, like his commentary is raw, it's honest, and I can appreciate that. I can hugely appreciate that. And to be honest, in our interactions, I've gotten along with the guy swimmingly. He's a really chill dude, and despite his self-description of Raging Atheist, he does get into moments where he rages, but there's reason behind it, and you can understand it. That's something that's really cool.
Yeah, and
it's not just unadulterated rage like you might expect from the name. It's actually like there's a lot of justification behind like when he gets frustrated.
Yeah, which is good. So that is a debate, and if you guys have not seen the debate already, I would recommend doing so you have some context for the conversation. I do have a link. I should anyway. If I don't, then please let me know. But I should have a link to that debate in the video where I talked about possibly legitimizing Matt Powell. Speaking of which, there was a response to that video done by Hopswatch Bear or Hopswatch Beer. Rather.
Hopswatch. Who is that?
He's a smaller channel. About
who dat?
right under 50 subscribers.
Okay.
But he did a response video to my video about are we legitimizing Matt Powell. His actual channel name is Hopswatch. His Twitter handle is Hopswatch Beer. And I watched the video and I actually enjoyed it.
Okay.
Because in my video, I kind of
criticized your face.
He criticized my face, but also remember I ended that video with saying I'm a bit torn on the subject. I would like conversation on it.
Right.
And so when he did his response video, I'm just like, this is what I want. I want this kind of criticism, because whether or not I agree with it, I want that conversation. I want to figure out where people are coming from when it comes to the issue. Are you lending legitimacy to people like Matt when we have debates kind of like what happened on Modern Day Debate?
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed his episode. I'm going to send a link for you guys to watch after. Not during the show, obviously, but definitely take a look at that. It is a criticism of me, of the video that I did, and I enjoyed it. Give it a shot when you get a chance. So there's that.
I'm going to click on that and... No!
What'd you do?
No, everything fucked up.
You have made mistakes.
I made a huge mistake. That was a terrible idea. Just DM that to me.
Sure. Why not? I will send you thus DMs.
Wait, what happened? No, I screwed it up again.
Ocean, is this the reason why you don't host any of this?
Correct.
Because when I host them, they don't break?
Oh God, no! I'm fighting my Mozilla right now. What's going on? I've lost the chat. It's over. Everything is done. All right. So just so you guys know, I'm pagan. And
that means you're bad with technology, apparently.
Being pagan, shouldn't have anything to do with understanding or interacting with technology. I'm actually a pretty techie guy. I built my own computer. I've built this setup. Like I'm literally using a T3i Canon DSLR as my webcam. So like, I'm a techie person. However, being pagan means that technology will not cooperate, no matter how much I know about it.
Actually,
it will do something against me.
I'd like to correct you on that. I'd like to correct you on that.
Okay, go for it.
As the atheist, I would say that being human does that because it does the same thing to me. Like yesterday before the stream, there were technical issues leading up to the stream where I would reboot my computer and it would open up and then nothing would work. I would click on an icon, it would freeze on the icon, it would do nothing.
Yeah, you've built your own computer as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
well, granted, this computer
it just means that we're incompetent. As well.
Yes, it does.
Like we're Gaelic Knox, Ocean can confirm. But yeah, for some reason, technology fights me, and I spend a lot of time with this shit, and I know, like, I'm not like a coder or anything like that, but I do, work a lot with this stuff. But
I think I know what we can do. But here's how we test this. We're gonna take your hammer, and if your hammer's closer to the computer and it starts fucking up more, then we know that we have a problem.
Okay, let's see. And well,
we done screwed up, guys.
I don't know what happened.
Ocean's broken, everybody.
All right, I'm gonna just remove the hammer from the computer and put this over here now. Oh, all right.
Here we are.
Hi.
Can confirm. Now,
yep.
now we take the atheist hammer. We move it near the computer. Nope. No change. Okay. I guess it does only work on pagans.
Yeah, that's a pagan thing. Yep. There you go.
So there are a few other topics we wanted to get into. I know that we might do the discussion on teleportation. It's just a random thing that
it's
came
a
up.
Weird. I don't know if we can lead into that.
I don't think we can.
Have to start with that one and let it go.
But we've also got it might be more apt to do the conversation on how to have decency between theist and atheist, considering that we were talking about an atheist-theist debate just like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It might be the more natural one.
So, all right, so I've been having this this conversation as of late, and it's been like it's popped up with Duke Bonanza, who I think that is somebody who engages really well. Like, he says what he thinks, he's honest about it, but he's also like respectful and willing to listen and all that shit. The Evans Murphy, the Faithless South on Godless Iowans' new channel, now it's like Objectively Subjective, has also been making similar commentary of like, he has a frustration with how atheists engage, especially with polytheists. And he made the point, it's like, look, guys, you guys are interacting with as you guys meaning polytheists, that we have the same frustration with Christians a lot of atheists do. We're coming at religion from a more structured, justified position, and that there does seem to be like this instinct among atheists to say, you're a theist, therefore you're irrational, which is frustrating from our perspective, because it's like, no, we did all this work, but it's been especially an issue with a friend of mine named Callan, who has been experiencing all kinds of like raids on her Twitter as of late. She's trans, she's pagan, she's openly polytheist.
She hits all of the.
She's got all these, like there is a subset of atheists that do not like everything that she identifies publicly with, and she's been getting regularly attacked to the point where it's like, I'm even looking at her Twitter and going like, how is this happening to you and not me?
When you're the one who has more public discourse on this, if anything, you should have the target on your back.
Exactly. But she's been, she makes her posts. I think that there's a major difference is I've been around longer, and there's a lot of like atheist YouTube personalities that get along with me, and people see the positive interaction between me and them. So I don't get as much like, I don't know, wave of trolls as a lot of polytheists do on Twitter, because I've kind of like, I don't know, built up this I've established myself more or less. Callan is
that was a horrible feeling.
And, Callan is not, and Callan has gotten just like regular vitriol, including a lot of transphobic comments, including a lot of dismissive character and all this other shit. And it's really frustrating to watch. And like, I don't know. I just there needs to be a little bit of fucking basic respect, I think, in this conversation. I don't know why it's like seems so common that it's just abandoned, especially when I don't know. I get from a certain perspective that a lot of atheists are fighting Christians, and Christians can be incredibly judgmental, frustrating. Like they attack people with their Bible. But when you're attacking like the trans identity of a polytheist and then calling her irrational and all this other shit, it's just like what's the difference between what you're doing and what you get mad at Christians doing? You know what I mean?
At that point, there's really not a whole lot of difference, because some of the issues that we end up having, I've seen this happen a few times, is if you're irrational about this, what else are you irrational about?
Yeah.
Seems to be one of the common criticisms. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, but I understand where you're coming from, but you are familiar with the concept of human compartmentalization, right? Like, you can have, even if we granted that theism was irrational, which is not a case that I try to make, even if we granted that, thanks to compartmentalization, that one fact can be completely isolated from everything else.
Yeah, we see that with people like Matt Powell, right?
No, with Matt Powell, we see that...
Maybe, I don't know.
No, with Matt Powell, we see that he's just irrational across the board.
I think that there's... Like, let's say that, for example, he believes in the physical world. He has probably a rational construction of, like, things like eating. Like, I get hungry when I don't eat, therefore I must consume food. But then there's a compartmentalization when it comes to where he's getting authority in his religious beliefs. He's not sourcing that from the same kind of experience that he would with his like the eating justification, but he is sourcing an authority in a text, which generally polytheists don't do that. With the sourcing authority in a text like that, at least to the extremity that the extremity that Christians do, but we get accused of it, like this all religions are the same kind of rhetoric. When no, we're quite varied. All right, thank you. And the Christianity is like extremely unique among religions. That's something that I've gotten pushback on before as well.
You don't appeal to the Havmal the same way that a Christian appeals to the Bible.
Right. No, Havmal is seen as like good advice.
Yeah,
it's not seen as divine command.
It's just you just look at it and you're just like, no, this is an epic poem, and it has some good advice in it, and then that's it.
Right.
Also, we have a $2 super chat from Puffalopagus. Ocean, it's because you're a bad motherfucker in a debate.
That's probably also true. I have gotten from people before that it's like, don't debate Ocean because he's good at it. But
meanwhile, that was one of my first debates I ever had. Oopsie.
Right. No, the first tussle that you got into was with me, and I had fun.
Like you and Catholic fusionists, and just like I didn't get into like the base level theists until after I got into it with higher level people. So like you saw once I started getting into those people, how frustrated I got during the conversations on like Atheist Edge and stuff.
I get there's three Catholics that I get confused, which is pragmatic culture, Catholic fusionist, and traditional Catholic.
I didn't even know about Tradcath.
Tradcath is a chat troll, but whenever someone says Catholic fusionist, I think of Tradcath.
No, do not lump Matt the same or Max the same way. Max is
right. No,
a good
Max
guy.
Is an incredibly smart dude. But I don't know. It's just a fucking craziness. But anyway,
he's the one good guy out of those three you mentioned.
I've heard things about pragmatic culture. I haven't had that conversation with him personally, but I've seen some videos and I've heard some things
on
about
my channel.
some of his beliefs. Yeah. Yeah, where it's just like, what?
It's like, dude, are you aware? Are you aware of some of the things you just apologized for? Okay, not apologized, but some of the things you just espoused,
defended, or
yeah. It's not a. We don't want to run down that.
For.
We don't want to run down that rabbit hole, but we.
Yeah, I mean, the one debate that I've had with him was on the Trinity, and I thought that he was incoherent. So, but I think that anybody that defends the Trinity is defending something that's incoherent. So it's not like he's unique in that front. But there has been a lot of like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, right? When I'm like this weird vitriol that comes from atheists that to me comes across as bigotry. I mean, it's a
carryover. The issue is that it's a carryover because the vitriol that you get from a lot of atheists is usually a response to the vitriol that they've received from a lot of Christians or Muslims. Problem is that because it happens from Christians and Muslims, and I would assume there are also some other faiths that have done it to them as well, because I know that there are some toxic versions of paganism and Wicca. They're not as common as they are for Christianity and Islam, but they still exist. They're used to seeing those things, and they all get put into this big label of just theist. And so to them, theist becomes the other. So the minute they see theist of any capacity, all these things get lumped into their schema of like, this person must be irrational, this person believes in a sky daddy, this person...
Oh, that's just generalization, and that's like, the generalizations like that are the basis of bigotry. That's like part of the reason why I'm calling it bigotry is that
and I agree with you. That's the reason why when I'm trying to map out like what the actual problem is, that's what it leads you to. It leads you to the logical conclusion that it's a form of bigotry, because the minute you think that, like, for instance, your belief on the afterlife is one of agnostic. You don't have a particular afterlife belief. I
have a tradition that I hold to, but yeah, I'm agnostic.
But it's not the same thing as going, no, I've evaluated the proposition and I believe P. You are suspended between the two. I know there's going to be people in the chat who are going to hammer on me for that now, but that's fine. They can be. I have a video mapping
definition of atheism.
I have a video mapping out my entire thoughts on that topic, so they can.
I mean, my position on the afterlife can't be described as atheist anyway. It's like, it's not that I don't believe in the afterlife either. Like, I actually, honestly, lately I've come to the position that it's like I probably believe in the afterlife. I just, as far as
like
doing, it may not be like as justified a belief as, say, my belief in deity. Because I haven't experienced the afterlife. So, but, there's a lot of the entailments of deity come with, that leads to afterlife. So,
well, if you have if you have room for one infinite being, then you have room for any other type of being infinite. At that point, it all just hinges on that infinite being.
Or eternal, rather, or something like that.
But the thing is, though, is that all of those things, regardless of what your personal position on an afterlife is, I guarantee you that you've had people who look at you and say theist and immediately think anyone who doesn't believe in me deserves to burn in hell. That gets lumped into you.
No, that does get lumped in. And I get that question. That's probably the most common theological question I get, which is, do I believe in a punishment, eternal hell, if I don't agree with you? It's like, no. And that was something that... one of the things that Eric Murphy started off with was like, at his position, it was interesting to me that he seemed to hold that if I don't hold that belief is required for afterlife, then why should he believe?
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a standard that is applied to any other belief. Like, if I don't believe in the physical world, like let's say I'm an idealist, right? I'm still interacting with the world in much the same way I'm eating food. I just believe that it's all kind of a mental construct and simulation of our interpretation of that which is actually there. So, but that belief isn't afterlife dependent. So why believe it? Why believe in a physical world if that's not afterlife dependent? Why believe in cups if that position isn't afterlife dependent? Like, that's none of this stuff is like, you don't apply that standard to anything else. And I'm also getting into a conversation with Duke Bonanza right now. I've abandoned it because I'm on this, but when he held the position of like, if you can't know it to be true, then it's not reasonable. And I got into a discussion with him. Well, all right, if you're going to hold, like, because he said that he asked me if I know if the gods exist. I said no. And he said, well, then why do you believe it? And it's like, well, because I don't think knowledge is required for belief. It's
that to say that's
I have my justifications.
This is where we get into that argument over, and I don't know how we get into this argument all the time, but I've gotten into it with my fellow atheists. And it's the difference between belief and knowledge. Well, for me, and maybe this is just me cutting through the fat because I'm a pragmatist. So, like, cutting through the fat to the point is just, it's what I prefer to do. But you can believe 100 things, and the 20 of those 100 things that happen to be true, those are the 20 things you know. You can think.
How do you know that you know things?
Are you gonna try to make the point that things are not knowable?
Well, but you agree with that, though, right?
I agree that you might not know that you know those things, but you believe you know those things. It just so happens that the things,
I agree with
the things that you actually know, like the things that you do know, not the things you think you know, but the things that you do in fact know, would be the 20 things that you believe
truth of
that
deity,
are
for
true.
example. So would you be saying that I believe that I know that the gods exist, or
I would say you believe
that means that whatever I believe I know.
Well, everything that you believe you know. But the things that you know are the things that you both believe and are true.
Is knowing what I know accessible? Period. Like, is there anything? Can I know that I know anything?
So, do you want the pragmatist?
Springs are coming out of Suris's head.
Do you want the pragmatist answer?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I want to know
the pragmatist answer is it doesn't matter.
Right, and I actually agree with that.
Yeah, the pragmatic answer is whether you can know what you know is irrelevant to whether or not you know it. Therefore, that gets nixed. As for my personal belief on that, because pragmatic theory of truth isn't what I subscribe to, I would have to come back to you on it. Like, it gets cut out because it's not a necessary thing, but right. I know that I could have a position on it if I gave it further thought.
Whether or not I know things I see is like, I don't concern myself with that as much because I think that it's just like a gigantic mind puzzle that's going to be, in the words of Aristotle, left to greater minds than myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that, like, I think that for my perspective, that's like a unanswerable puzzle to the point where I've looked at it and I feel like I'm exhausted looking at it, and I'm like, all right, well, there's not really anywhere else I can go here.
That's where like the mind springs come out for you as well.
Well, it's not necessarily the mind springs come out. It's just that I see the circularity of it, and from my perspective, my consciousness being limited by a physical body, in that how I interact with the world, how my consciousness interacts with the world is through this physical body. That provides a line in which there isn't any knowability outside of like that interaction with what I perceive to be a physical body. Like, I don't even know that it's a physical body when it comes right down to it. I make assumptions, but
yeah, you work under the precedent that it is. It is a you as far as you can tell, it is a body that you have to feed. It is a body that you have to water. It is physical.
The chat is going nuts right now.
It is physical in that it has to interact with things. Oh wow, we have some barking. For reasons.
The chat is straight up gone insane. Because this is like one of those like fun little subjects that is kind of a dividing line in theism and atheism. That is much easier to discuss when you don't have like the whole Jesus thing in the middle of it. It was not like a, belief equals salvation.
Well, it's
or
like
damnation,
when, especially when the conversation, like, say you're having this conversation with someone like Saiten, who you and I would both agree is
revealed to you and all that shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a conversation that becomes a lot easier whenever the interlocutor doesn't have that framework. Whenever you don't have a framework that like either relies on you taking a certain position. Like for me, because I'm an atheist, but I also don't deny the possibility of a god's existence. The idea that knowledge isn't possible without a god, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. It could be that ontologically a god exists, but I still don't believe in one personally because it hasn't been demonstrated to me in a sufficient way. Something like that, like for me, I can be flexible and that doesn't bother me, but if you've got somebody like Saiten who has to take the knowledge is not possible without his specific interpretation of a god,
right,
then the conversation becomes a lot more difficult, because you can't just... it's almost like he has too much in the race in order to be truly honest about his position. Because being honest about his position would mean forfeiting certain things about his belief.
There's this, and Saiten, like, he's a presuppositionalist. The whole thing with presuppositionalists is that they think that in order for you to know something, it has to be divinely revealed. And being somebody who defends spiritual experiences as much as I do, none of those experiences have been a revealing of knowledge.
It was divinely revealed to you that you did in fact eat eggs.
Like, that's stupid.
That is nightmarishly dumb.
So, like, it has been revealed to me in a way such that I cannot be wrong, is usually the way that presuppositionalists phrase that idea. But I don't know what way that is.
And the thing is that when a presupper uses that, it's not because they want to have legitimate conversation. It's because they're trying to give themselves an unassailable position.
Right.
The problem is, though, in creating an unassailable position, because it is technically unassailable, but not in the way that they want. They want it to be unassailable in a way that means that they're always right. Instead, it's unassailable in a sense that nobody can have conversation with you now.
Yeah. And Iron Charioteer is bringing up the guy on Non Sequitur show last night that knows he saw an angel, which is an interesting phrasing. I think that as far as like things that you can know that you experienced something and that you can know that you perceived, right? But you can't know that perception is reality necessarily. So when he's saying that he knows he saw an angel, I don't think that nobody in the debate was really questioning whether or not the experience happened to him.
Just what his interpretation of the experience, whether or not is correct.
Right. And I had problems with his interpretation because he was interpreting Christianity from that shit. And Christianity has a lot of entailments. Because he is interpreting from the fact that he saw an angel, that there is one God and all others are false.
Except now oh my gosh. How many times have we gotten into this conversation of, can you please give me the distinction between a god, an angel, and a demon? And then when they say there's a distinction between an angel and a demon, well, the distinction in Christianity would just be... The distinction in Christianity would just be who they serve.
Right, it's allegiance.
But functionally, they are the exact same. Now, what is the difference between a god and an angel?
In Christianity, it's the omnipotence thing. Angels aren't omnipotent.
True, but at that point, you have to ask, why is omnipotence a requirement for godhood?
I don't hold to it.
It feels arbitrary.
It does. And beyond that, when you start examining omnipotence, it's contradictory anyway. So, like, it
does
winds
your
up
omnipotent beard grow?
Yeah, I mean, that's, is it... that's the objection that I have to omnipotence. That if the definitions of omnipotence, like one that's provided is able to do anything logically possible within its nature. My beard, the only thing that's logically possible within its nature is to grow. It grows. My beard is omnipotent. The end. It fits the definition. So that's why the ranking on my Discord, I rank myself as omnipotent beard as the admin. And like it's frustrating to deal with that. Because I don't know what omnipotent, like if you use that definition of omnipotence, then you can also make arguments
to say everything's omnipotent. Everything's omnipotent at that point, because everything can only do that which is within its nature.
Right.
And anything that can do more than that has superseded omnipotence.
Right.
And
but nothing can do that which is outside of its nature. Like so when I say I'm omnipotent, a lot of times people will say, well, there's people that can jump higher than you. And it's like, well, that's not my nature. That's their nature. Like I can do everything that is logically possible within my nature. and my nature entails everything that exists about me now. I have a certain amount of muscular strength. I have a certain amount of like my sight has a certain ability,
and
etc.
if you get to a point where you're able to do something in a week that you weren't able to do before, well, that's because your nature changed.
Right. So, I can still do everything logically possible within my nature. It's just that I've changed my nature. But the fact that I'm omnipotent hasn't changed in that I can do more. It's just that what defines my omnipotence changed. So, it used to be could bring about anything logically possible. And then like the whole like, can God lift a rock so big? Can God create a rock so big he can't pick it up?
Can God make a burrito so hot he can't eat it?
I love that one.
I think that's the way that all things should be framed from now on.
My argument to against the logically possible thing is I can walk. God can't walk.
You can lie.
But no, God doesn't have legs, at least unless he's Jesus.
Well, also you can think.
Shit, don't get into that. Like I can have intention. That's another one that's fun.
Oh my god.
Insects are cool. Is like I don't like philosophical arguments, and other people are saying now I want a burrito.
Also, we have a bit of fan art.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Come in. It is about basements. Allow me. Oh wow, that is magically huge. Let me try to lower that. That is some high resolution image there. Holy shit! And it's
Whoa, hey.
And it needs to turn, and I cannot turn it. That's I have some problems. Why is that? Why is that like that? Can I not rotate that? Is that a thing that I can rotate? Please tell me I can rotate that.
Oh, one just came in, by the way, that by Ray, that I really like.
I shall pull that one up. Aha. The worst part is that I have to actually sort all these after the show each time. But I also don't mind. Now we got that one in. Okay, so the one that we have, I guess we'll tackle the first one that came in, because the people in the chat might not be able to read it, all things considered. But it's on the wrong side, unfortunately, thanks to my computer being dumb. But it's the first image in the beginning is me going, my basement is haunted by pagans, who knows what horrific evils they get up to. And it's just Gaelic Knox with a bowl of popcorn, with you like right under the bowl of popcorn, like your tiny avatar that she does for you. Just watching Steven Universe.
Tiny Ocean is my favorite thing. I just want to say that Tiny Ocean, like this little miniature chibi that Emmett has created, is straight up my favorite thing. Like any fan art of me that includes Tiny Ocean, please. Yes.
And then we also have...
I approve entirely of Tiny Ocean.
We also have this fan art from Spooky Boy Ray of me and you, apparently. I don't know why I have hard eyes, and I think I don't want to know why I have hard eyes.
I'm also behind you.
Yes. You're behind me with a hammer. Eyes. You're about to hammer me from behind, and I have hard eyes.
Okay.
I have questions.
Got it.
There's... It just floods in. Fan art just like there's just a point randomly where fan art just starts and then it doesn't stop. As evidenced by
someone said you're on his fortress.
we also now have Maneki Suris. Apparently. And that is from Bumblin' Bee.
I love that. That's kind of cute.
Stop calling me cute, damn it.
Right,
you're gonna validate all the fan art and fan fiction. We don't want that here.
Who says I don't want to do that? The fan art is coming in.
It has begun. Fan art is coming.
Let's see. Maybe don't use the phrase "flood it" when talking about having hard eyes and ocean being behind you. broken.
And that's coming from one bologist who's probably like the biggest proprietor of porn of my character at this point. Chrismer says, "Open the fan art floodgate."
The floodgate, as it were. And Gaelic Knox just sent like a tiny ocean going, "Fear me."
Wait, where?
She DM'd it to me.
Ah, damn it.
I
was gonna throw it up, but it's gone.
I meant posted in the fan art.
Yeah, throw it in the fan art section so we can throw it up. Is the thing.
Oh, I'm gonna.
When Bala just says it's true, I've single-handedly made the most lewds of your channel. Oh no, sci-fi. I'm not speaking that sci-fi mind. I'm not saying those words.
Who said what?
No,
where?
It's in the live chat, but I'm not speaking it. I refuse to. I know my fans. I know how dangerous they are. They're incredibly dangerous.
Gaelic Knox just posted it in the chat.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got that as well. It's like this point where the show just kind of pauses.
I know, it just like and the fan art just comes in.
Like, here we are. We're at the fan art section of the show, guys.
It's being flooded. People are doing thinky faces. So
okay, so just so people know, the way that I sort things in my folder is I name everything by the original artist's name that they have in Discord, but I add one more letter to the end of the art each time. And because of the amount of art that Gaelic Knox has submitted, I've had to name it Gaelic.
I think you should just go Gaelic A, B, C, D, and then go to the point where you have two letters.
I would.
You don't have to.
I would, but we're way past that point. Also, because I've had to rename the art, it's no longer there anymore. I must fix this. So
I've got a fan art folder now, which is hilarious. Like, why do I never thought that I'd have a fan art folder.
I never thought I would either.
And here it is, and I barely have a channel. So please subscribe to me.
Please subscribe to Ocean Series. It's better than Ocean Pie. Now that I've said that, there's going to be somebody who makes fan art of Ocean Pie. And it's going to be the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, there we go. Tiny Ocean saying, "Fear me."
The pie.
There it is. It is there for all to see.
I don't know why I have a goatee in this worldview. Like, it's like this extremely thick goatee.
They're imagining you with my facial hair.
It almost has a like that particular one. I look like a praying mantis almost. Have you seen a there's a video that I saw recently of a praying mantis just like speed eating a cricket? Now I'm imagining you doing that to a leg of chicken. Well, that's accurate. It's not false at all. This is actually how Ocean eats a leg of chicken. This is canon to my existence. I do eat a lot of chicken. Oh my gosh, Jack Fisher says, "Oh, can pie mean something lewd in America as well?" Have you seen the movie American Pie? It does mean lewd things. This is a fact. Oh boy. Being asked for my channel link. Here it is. Guys, Ocean's channel link is in the description. It's in the description of the video. You just hit the little down. I'm slowly climbing. I've got 519 subscribers. Soon you'll be able to pass T-Series. Maybe. Yes, that's what I'm gunning for. Subscribe to me. I'm aiming for T-Series. Yep. Sci-Fi Mind says in English everything's a metaphor for lewd. Correct. You're also not true. You're not incorrect. So anyway, respectful fucking dialogue. Yeah. Stop attacking people on the internet. Or at least, like, I don't know. Stop attacking people on the internet. Here's the thing that winds up happening, and this is like the big frustrating thing, is when Callan specifically has this engagement where she will state of belief. Because her Twitter is a pagan Twitter. She says things that are pagan, and then someone will come on and criticize her or ask her questions. And Callan's problem isn't the criticism and isn't the questions. It's the ridicule, mockery, and dismissiveness. And when she says, "Hey, please respect me," that I'm interested in respectful dialogue, the response that she usually gets is, "Religion is deserving of ridicule, and I have the right to ridicule because of the First Amendment."
And that's fine, but here's the problem.
Isn't what she's saying.
She's not saying respect her belief. She's saying respect her as a person.
I think she's also saying respect. I think that we should be respecting people's beliefs, but then you can still criticize and respect. Like, you don't like, I just there's a lot of examples that are coming to mind, like almost all at the same time with respect to that. That, like,
I can another tiny ocean, by the way.
God damn it. I can respect Islam while at the same time having serious criticisms of Islam, right? And I don't need to engage it by, like, using a bunch of racial epithets. I don't need to like call Muslims, dismissive names or anything like that. I can engage in saying, here's the problems that I have with Islam. I don't need to go into mockery.
In some cases, I would say that in some cases mockery is apt, but
that's in extreme situations, though.
Yes.
Especially when someone's being aggressive with you.
Like, if we're talking about something like young Earth creationism, I'll openly mock it. I'll just
because and here's the reason why. Like, younger creationists will attack people, right? And call they'll bring out their conspiracy theories and go really aggressive on people with their beliefs.
Cough, cough, Matt Powell, cough, cough, Julian Anderson, cough, cough, Kent Hovind.
When you're talking about,
Ocean Pie is a thing now, by the way.
Say what?
Ocean Pie is a thing now, by the way.
God damn it. I see that. Motherfucker. So,
what you want?
when fucking Matt Powell is talking about the constitutional defense of the death penalty for homosexuality, you can criticize that and mock it because it's something that's, like, trying to affect people, it's attacking people, etc. The stuff that Callan is doing, which is essentially, I have these beliefs, and I don't necessarily need you to agree with me, but if you have questions, I'm willing to engage with you, kind of thing. Completely different thing. And that's not, you don't need to ridicule that.
Especially if you're gonna have questions and you're gonna have open dialogue, why ought somebody have an open dialogue with you or an open discussion or even give you the time of day if the only thing you can do is ridicule them?
Yeah, I don't see the need to interact necessarily when I see a need to, when people get into, like, mocking engagements with me, there's a kind of way that I sort of that I interact with it is essentially just like, I have a shutdown approach of, well, this is dishonest engagement. Why do I need to continue this? Or, like, I have a couple of rules about that, which is, don't get in the mud. And if you're going to get in the mud, be better at it.
We have more Ocean Pie, BT dubs.
There's so many.
So much Ocean Pie.
But, if you don't necessarily want to get in the mud, and I don't think that it's necessarily the best goal in a conversation, then you can just be like, well, this is what's going on. You're being dishonest. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's mostly my rant when it comes to this whole thing. Is we're not out to fucking get you, so there's not really much of a reason to engage dishonestly with polytheists on a general basis. There are polytheists who are, and if you want to ridicule and mock them, fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Some folks just deserve ridicule.
There you go. I see the reference. But for example, if you have, like, some fucking you get it, this happens, this is a thing with Norse pagans, which I'm a Norse pagan, but you get people that are trying to use their religion to justify some kind of racist shit. Those are people that are denying people their humanity.
Correct.
Mock them, ridicule them. Fine, do it. But if someone's not doing that, if you're not being like attacked by somebody, then like that engagement isn't needed. I don't know if you heard me.
I just had to untangle my wire because for some reason this wire likes to scrunch up like this to the point where I can't move. So I had to just untangle it there for a second. That was fun.
This one's asking what my opinion is on Ron McVan. Who the fuck is Ron McVan? Do you know who?
Doesn't ring a bell. I can look up for half a second while you do engagement stuff, though.
I pretty much finished my rant. I'm just saying that, like, if someone's attacking you, if someone's espousing beliefs that deny humanity of people, then yeah, that's deserving of ridicule. But if they're not, then you can engage them like a reasonable person.
So Ron McVan he's a American white nationalist Odinist.
Oh, so far, fuck that guy.
He's also written several books.
What? Okay, so I should know this name.
Yeah, he's got books entitled like Might is Right.
Ron McVan. I have a sculptor. The Temple of Wotan. Okay, so he's got this voice of our forefathers. Seems like he ascribes to like metagenetics and that kind of bullshit.
Yay.
So we could do a video on this at some point, just like folkism in general.
Apparently he's got a Facebook, and the first thing I see on his Facebook is somebody saying, "Here we go again. Ron got banned for 30 days again, and Facebook doesn't even tell him why. This is crazy."
That's because you're being a racist shit.
Yeah, if you're a racist piece of human garbage, then Facebook banning you is the least of your problems. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it seems like he's a fuck. Yeah, he's like a white genocide guy, and has some white supremacy positions.
Yeah, no. Anybody,
and he's also anti-Semitic. Great, he's like exactly the fuck. When people like you read what they're saying about things, and you're like, God damn, you're a stereotype.
Yeah,
like that. That's what this guy is like. So from what I'm reading, it's like, oh my fuck.
He checks all the boxes.
He checks all the boxes.
I'm like, how do you become
Probably has a 1488? Damn it!
How do you become one of the worst people in the world? Well, here's the checklist, and holy fuck.
Yeah, you hit all of them.
I was like, all these.
I was like, you probably have a 1488 tattoo somewhere, and then I read this. McVan collaborated with Katja Lane on 14 Words Press. 14 Words Press.
Which means you predicted it. Yep.
There it is. No, it's just like all this shit. It's just like associated with one another.
We should probably we can do some research on this guy, and he could just be an episode at that point.
This seems like something where, I don't know, these guys could be like the equivalent of biblical gender roles episodes for me in the future. Like you get people that have like these like weird fucking race opinions, and that aren't rooted in like, okay, I'll explain it real quick. So there was a divide early on in the what was called the Asatru movement in America, and it was kind of run by this guy Stephen McNallen. Stephen McNallen wrote an article called Metagenetics, in which he believes that there's some kind of like spiritual value in DNA.
And this isn't the same type of like Jordan Peterson level of the ancient people twisted snakes together, and
that's part of the reason why I think Jordan Peterson fits right in with all this shit.
Oh my gosh.
His arguments reflect Stephen McNallen. So anyway, Stephen McNallen.
If you wanted to know why incels group around Jordan Peterson, here's why.
Here you go. But
I'm still listening.
So Stephen McNallen has this. He's gone. I'll just talk to you guys. Hi, live
I'm
chat.
still here.
I don't care.
Thirsty.
You're not on camera, so you don't exist.
Wait, what?
I don't have object permanence.
I need tea.
So, Stephen McNally writes this article, Metagenetics, and it's written in like the 80s when genetics was seen as like this very mysterious thing. So you could get away with writing like spiritual pseudoscience on genetics and get away with it. And he has this idea that like white DNA from Europe has like the gods in it or some shit. And that
excuse me, what?
Yeah. And heathenry awakening in America is the gods coming to life through our DNA, and that they're at war with other gods. So he believes that like on the Mexican border, the white gods, which he believes to be the Norse gods specifically, not the Roman, just Norse gods, are fighting with the Aztec gods on the border of Mexico.
Wait a minute.
And he puts this through genetics, that it's, and he's very like Jungian archetype in his approach.
More Jordan Peterson boxes are getting ticked.
Right. And because Jordan Peterson is very Jungian and so on. There's an article written by Carl Jung called, let me pull it up real quick. Here we go. Carl Jung essay on Wotan. You can look this up, in which Jung talks about, he was writing in the 30s in Germany, talking about the awakening of a form of neo-paganism being the, a racial identity, like that the German awakening of greatness or whatever that eventually led into the Nazi Party.
Rex Kenny pointed out something in the chat. Does this mean that only white people have the Higgs boson inside them?
The fuck?
Do you know what the Higgs boson
no,
was?
No, I know. It's a God particle, but the point is that Stephen McNally was trying to hide God in genetics and use that to justify racism. And this was back when genetics was very mysterious, so a lot of people that didn't understand genetics were like, fine, this makes sense. And this is how we get folkism today. And it's based on Carl Jung talking about the awakening of Wotan in Germany before the Reich came, talking about how this is the spirit of European people. And McNally just expanded on that and applied a DNA strand to it. And that's why you get a lot of this neo-Nazi thought. That's where it all centers, is right in there. And
if ever we could advocate for a book burning, there are some that do deserve to not exist.
McNallen's book is available, accessible, and it is titled Asatru, a Native European religion or whatever, something like that, Native European spirituality, I think. And I bought a copy of it not knowing who he was. Right? Mm-hmm. So I have a copy of his book. And I started reading it and I was like, this is weird to me. There's something going on here that's a little off. But I was able to catch that because I have a background in history. Because there was a lot of things that he was saying that didn't match up. And I was confused. It was like, this doesn't make, okay, what's up with this guy? And I started looking him up and going into a little bit of his history, and I found all this shit. Now imagine if I didn't know about that crap.
You could have just bought right into it.
Could have bought right into it. And it's entire, like, you have people that have a justified position of spiritual experience that then wander into a book like that then they read this and they go, oh, okay, well, that's how it all works. We know it's all pseudoscience, it's bullshit. And I say that as a fucking pagan, right? And then people walk into it not knowing that it's bullshit, not knowing that it's ahistorical. Like, there's no historical evidence that he has is bullshit. The scientific evidence that he has is bullshit. But people don't realize that, and they just read it and accept it, and then they move into this folkist ideal.
We also have another Catboy Suris, apparently. Because I can't escape Rule 63, I can't escape tentacles, and I can't escape being made a Neko.
Did you see that? Hold on a second. fucking post the new one that just came up in the chat.
Wait. Oh, God. Perfect. Perfect. This one's just going to be large for a little bit. Okay.
I think that is some straight up. I love that one.
That has to be your profile picture for a little while.
I don't know if it would be a profile picture, but I'm definitely posting it on Twitter right now.
It could be a profile picture on Twitter.
I like my profile picture though. But this is getting posted on Twitter. I am posting this.
That's perfect. Oh God, we filled up the screen with art. I'm gonna have to start resizing some of it soon. If one more thing gets spoken into existence, we will have to do a resize. Oh boy.
Who made this one? Mr.
Wombologist.
Yeah, does Wombologist have a Twitter? I want to tag.
I am uncertain.
I'm gonna DM.
Well, speaking of Rule 63, I will have to do a resize. Because unless I resize some of this art, I will not be able to do anything.
That's straight up funny.
I can just imagine you popping out of the pie for, like, somebody's birthday. Fuck Nazis!
That's great. God, there's so many... Is that bearded sort of... It looks like early 2000s gothy art version of me sitting over there with the big eyes in the lower left corner there.
Yes, that was actually from Jim Majors. You have fan art from Jim. How do you feel?
I don't know.
All right, and now here we have, apparently, Rule 33 Lolita Suris. Apparently.
What?
I'm not kidding you.
What?
I'm not kidding you.
Oh, I see it now. That's kind of scary. You've even got pigtails.
I'm not kidding you. This is what my life has become. None of it can be escaped. There is now room for more art to come in. Apparently. Oh boy.
Fuck Nazis coming out of a pie. I'm still reeling.
Say that sentence again.
Fuck Nazis coming out of a pie.
That is the best sentence I've heard all day.
Exactly. Like, there's nothing better than that. I think that we can close up. It's done. Fuck Nazis coming out of a pie.
That is where we can possibly end things.
I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying the show at the moment, but that's just like...
Also, Chrismer said we need Sailor Moon Suris. Sorry, Chrismer, but that already exists. That already exists in several forms. A magical girl version of Suris is already a thing that has happened quite a few times. Artists have already beaten you to it, my friend.
There's definitely a lot of girl Suris.
It's a bit late. Well, see, some of them aren't even like me as a girl. One of them's me, obviously male, just dressed as frickin' Madoka from Madoka Magica.
God, I'm looking at the screen now and I see this like magical girl Suris floating the hammer. That's great.
Yeah.
It's flooding in.
Gainer says, Gaelic, we need ocean animated popping out of a pie saying, fuck Nazis. Okay. These ones were not submitted on the show, so they're going to not be on the screen any longer.
Gaelic Knox, straight up. If I want to get a subscribe button, the little animation I can put in the corner that is me popping out of a pie saying "fuck Nazis" with the little subscribe button in the bottom. I'll put that on all of my videos if that gets made.
You might want to censor the word "fuck" though, because YouTube might actually take videos down and
stuff like that. That's fine.
It actually looks funnier that way too sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's funny.
You know, all the stuff. I'm curious if that means we can even There are two other topics that I had on the docket for today.
Yeah.
One was obviously teleportation. The other one would be, since you just recently officially started your channel, since you made your first video, kind of wanted to do the topic of, should somebody start a channel?
I mean, yes.
I mean, yeah, that is the answer. But what are some of the reasons why somebody might want to start a channel?
If you think that, and don't worry about production value. I didn't worry about production value for my first video.
It's true.
I figured out how to say what?
It's true. I criticized him a lot.
I didn't. Production value. I was just like, I just want to get this idea out there. I want to make a video and then get started, and I can improve things as they go on. And now I have this avatar, and I'm working on a few other things, and that's great. But this next one, I'm going to try and polish it a little bit more. But you can polish as you go. That's what I'm doing.
Look at my first video. Now look at my most recent video. They look like they're done by two different people.
Right. The polishing happens as the process. You get the practice as it goes. The thing that you should worry about the most is whether or not your ideas, you can contribute unique ideas to the community. If you're a clone, you're going to be boring. But if you have a different angle on something, that's going to be helpful. And that's what's helped me, is I'm coming at a lot of these issues as a polytheist. And there's not very many polytheist YouTube personalities. So here I come. That being said, as far as a lot of people that are wanting to start channels right now is in the atheist sphere. And the atheist sphere, I think, needs variety anyway, because there's a lot of clones. So,
are you saying we have armored skeptic clones?
Yeah, there's armored skeptic clones. There's Sargon clones. You might be able to say that those two are clones of each other, but there's people that are trying to be Aaron Ra. There's people that are, and that's fine, kind of. But if you can be, Aaron Ra is pretty easy to criticize. So if you can be a better Aaron Ra, then great. But you should be able to modify something, make it your own. And then you have a channel that's worth subscribing to. Because otherwise it's a lot of these social commentary channels, I'm only subscribed to one or two of them, because I'm subscribed to Three Arrows and as a social commentary channel, but there's a lot of people that are Three Arrows clones, and I'm like, I'll just subscribe to Three Arrows.
There's also commentary revolving around YouTube personalities that's good too, though. So the Right Opinion, if you've ever seen his channel.
I haven't.
It's actually a really good commentary channel. Though, you're familiar with Rags, right? Because I know that you and him and I have all talked on Steve McRae's channel and stuff.
I don't like him.
He has an entire video just ripping apart Rags.
Oh, okay.
That's got 300, 400,000 views.
Yeah, shoot me a copy of that. I've never seen Rags' channel. Whenever he might, I didn't know whether or not he was a personality that I should care about when he showed up in the non sequitur. I still don't. Does he have a lot of subscribers or something? I don't know who Rags is.
YouTube's his full-time job, and he's over 100,000 subs.
Okay.
He's huge, but the thing is that
it just seems like an edgelord to me.
His channel is a gaming channel, mostly,
okay.
Gaming commentary and talking about stuff like that. So it's the things he talks about, over on Nonsec, are not the things he talks about on his channel.
On his channel, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's why he seemed fairly uninformed to me.
But 368,000 views on his deconstruction of Rags. So I'm gonna go ahead and send you that, because
somebody was saying that he seems very apologetic for conservatives. I'm not I listened to Sargon for a long time, and not as I agree with this person listening to. I don't really listen to Sargon anymore because I got bored of them, but I listened to him as let's hear what the commentary is kind of perspective. That's the reason why I was listening to him. And especially when someone comes up and talks to me about, because I've had I really like Sargon in real life conversations before, and it's easier to be the person who criticizes that stuff having watched and been familiar with a lot of his content and method. I've gone through like his sources before. I've listened to several of his This Week in Stupids and a lot of his more focused content, and I have opinions on it, so I can be more informed when if somebody's coming up to me and says they like Sargon, I can criticize from a position of strength. With respect to, like, I also am not necessarily worried if somebody's a conservative or a liberal in their commentary, as long as their commentary is interesting. I do get frustrated with like how informed some commentary is, though.
Sometimes
like
it's just reactionary.
I like Three Arrows. Three Arrows does his deep dive research, and I like that about him. ContraPoints similarly does deep dive research. Dr. Lehman similarly does deep dive research, and I love that kind of content. But blah.
Blah blah blah. Also, there's Jim Majors updated his artwork.
I see that.
Get it large for a second.
Where like
here.
You're peeking out from behind me,
Yes.
making a weird face.
Apparently so. I don't know why I'm making that face. I am quite confused as to why that is the thing that is happening. But it is a thing that is there. Oh god. Sci-Fi Mind says ContraPoints is a magical girl. Change my mind.
I'm not going to.
No. I don't think there's a point we can make against ContraPoints being a magical girl that you would find that even we would find to be.
No, she's a ContraPoints is definitely a magical girl.
Confirmed. This is confirmed canon. But that said,
4 and 20 oceans baked in a pie, and when the pie was opened up, the oceans began to sing "Fuck Nazis."
That needs to be your intro music. It's just a bunch of children singing 4 and 20 oceans.
Okay, that's the thing. I didn't know the song. I have I've lived a sheltered life.
As we found when we tried to figure out what anime you had seen.
None. I just didn't watch it when I was young.
Slowly looks at posters behind me.
Right, I do not recognize any of those.
Not even Ranma.
I don't know what that is. All right, guys. That was hammered out. It was good hanging out with you guys. Happy Thor's Day. What the fuck is going on? Suris has left the building. My presumption is that this live stream will go on until he. And now he's okay. So now it's me on a delay, and that's even weirder. Let's do this. Do this. Look at that. There's like a slight delay, and that's really strange. We can make pistons out of this. I'm running this engine here. Check out the description for interesting links and stuff. And I'm gonna fuck off. How about you? Are you fucking off?
I think I'm gonna have to fuck off too after that. And finding out that you have not seen Ranma 1/2 just made me hate you as a person.
I don't know what it is.
No.
I don't even know the plot.
In a nutshell,
no familiarity with it.
In a nutshell, the very first episode, Ranma and his dad are sparring, and they're
sparring.
You box! Don't even. No, Ranma and his dad are sparring, and Ranma is about to be set up in an arranged marriage in order to keep this this martial arts studio going and kept within the family. Ranma is sparring with his grandpa and falls into a lake. That lake is apparently the lake where a young girl drowned, so now every time Ranma is splashed with water, if it's cold water, he turns into a young girl. If it's hot water, he turns back into a guy. So...
Oh, I've seen clips of this.
Yes, the entire show is...
Like, he goes on a date or something like that, and he gets splashed with water, and he's got to figure out... it's kind of like a situational comedy kind of thing.
Yes.
With a gimmick. of this water thing.
Yeah,
That's fun.
it's a very good show. I enjoy
That sounds like it's fun.
it. Fair enough. Well, with that said, that is going to be the end of the episode now that we've ended
Scientist
on...
Bella's in here.
At the very end.
Up with the chat. Welcome.
Welcome to the madness.
The insanity of this show.
And Frustrated Atheist says he just uploaded his fan art. I guess I have to go ahead and throw this in. I got to shove it in at the end. That's please don't at me on that.
Flood that shit.
I'm trying to read it. I have a hammer. I have
gods with a lot of weapons? With what of weapons? With what? I can't read that.
I can't read it either.
I'm having a hard time here. I'm opening up in another window and I'm gonna go.
Okay. It's me saying I have a hammer, you saying I have gods with lots of weapons, and me going...
Is it lots?
I have gods with lots or best of weapons, or...
Yeah, I'm seeing best in there.
I don't... you know what? An argument could be made that it says lewd. I have an argument with lewd weapons. I have a gods with lewd weapons.
Good. Lewd of weapons.
Lewd of weapons. Frustrated Atheist, please tell us what this is.
I don't know what's being said here.
And it's just me going, I have a I think it says hammer, but it could also say hummus.
I say hammer. I see hammer.
I don't know.
There's words in there.
It is words.
There is a series of words.
Russ, please help us.
Russ, help us.
Russ, if you do not help us, then you are going to have to be attacked by apparently long cat Suris. Because that's a thing, apparently. Suris has long cat. Please, Russ. We need to know. We need answers. Oh my gosh.
All right.
I don't think we're getting answers.
We gotta pull this out.
Perfect. All right, guys.
I chose my words carefully.
Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
We're hopping out.